Lower your expectations. That's right. Many are the things that connect us to each other. That the things that divide us really don't stand a chance. So part of the trick, of course, is to be mindful and attentive to the things that connect us. So a lot of you know I was in Guatemala City last week, and I'm kind of wondering what the heck was I doing there, you know. And so this trip was sort of 2 years in the making. 2 years ago, a woman named Ashley Williams, who's in this photo, she works with gang members in prison and on the streets in Guatemala City for about 10 years. So she'd read my book, and then she went to prison officials, tried to get permission to let the book in. So a week later, the prison officials said, it's too violent. And because she's kind of a fearless person, she goes, yeah, I'm old-fashioned. Why don't you read it? You know, and so they did. And it took a year. She finally got permission. She pumped all these books into the prisons in Guatemala. Yeah. So consequently, the prisoners kept saying, could you get Father Greg to come to Guatemala? So with a group of people here in LA, they kind of fundraised so I didn't have to pay for anything. And Homeboy didn't have to pay for anything. So I went. And a year ago, she had presented me with this picture. Some of you may have seen it in my office of these really high-powered, maximum security, shot-collared, hardcore gang members all holding up my book, and they had all read it. So we went to about 5 prisons and did a lot of things, said mass, and did a lot of things. But we went to this prison. And it's so high security that these guys were brought down 3 at a time to our room, this kind of salon. And they were blindfolded and handcuffed and shackled. The prison guards didn't want them to know where they were going and how the layout of the prison was. And so they came and met with us 3 at a time. And during the meeting, we were surrounded by 25 guards with ski masks on because they don't want the prisoners to know who they are. It was incredible. In fact, they brought one group of 3 and they took the blindfolds off, and Ashley was with them in the hallway. And the guy said, what is this? What are we doing? And they go, aquí está Padre G. And the guy says, like a little kid, you know, in persona, like this. You know. And here they are faces covered with tattoos, and they're going to be the rest of their life in prison. And it was so moving and so heartening and so humbling. One of them said that in their cell, 10 people, he said, animals should not be in cells like this. They have one little kind of like a window, very small stream of light comes in, and so they would have, one of the guys would stand by the light, and he would read the book out loud to the others until the light disappeared, and then they'd close the book and open it again when the light returned. And he said you could hear a pin drop. It was very, again, humbling and sweet, and a connection that was really quite surprising. The other things we did is we visited 2 communities. One, the dump, which is the basurero, where people live at the public dump. And I've never seen poverty quite like this. And then we went to La Limonada, which is the dangerous community in Guatemala City. And really, again, startling to watch. But also filled with hope as we watched the programs of Hope Renewed build these kinds of projects that really were pilot lights of hope for the community there. At one point, we turned a corner, and there were these 5 goats being led by a kind of a goat herder with a whip, and he was selling little styrofoam cups of freshly, drawn goat milk. And one of our group, Frankie, who's spent 2 decades in prison, said, "I'm going to buy me one of those cups." Convinced him that he'd have choro for the rest of the trip. But I took a picture of these goats up close and personal, so when all the homies kept saying, "Where are you at? What are you doing?" I'd send them a picture of the goats and say, kicking it with my homies, So our last night we had a big, huge Guatemalan feast, and it was all the cast of characters who had been with us that week. And it was just wonderful. It was a celebration of connection. Thousands of miles separate us. Really 2 great different experiences. And there were 2 homegirls who I got to know really well, and I saw them every single day that we were there, and we talked a lot, and I got to know them, and we connected. So it was getting late for me anyway, so I'm going to bed, and they said, "Please take a picture before you go." And I said, sure. So one picture with one picture with the other, picture with the three of us. And then, everybody's saying, use my camera, use my camera. You know how you do that? And I said, here, use my camera. And so somebody took a picture of the three of us and handed it back to me. He said, let me see how it turned out. Wow, it's great, it's beautiful. Here. And I showed him the picture of the goats. And they looked at it and they kind of, what the hell? And then the three of us, we just started dying laughing. And so many are the things that connect us to each other, that the things that separate us really don't stand a chance. Things like race, and neighborhoods, and grudges, and hatred, and anger, they don't stand a chance. If you chronicle the things that happen today that connect us, kindness and tenderness and a touch and laughter, watch what happens. The things that we think are so powerful that separate us will disappear. In the end, they don't stand a chance in the face of the things that connect us. Amen. Lead us in prayer.
Heavenly Father, we are grateful for you for